Today, we are going to talk about the most difficult subject in economics. We are not going to talk about how to get rich. That is the easy part. We are going to talk about how to stop being poor. That is the hard part. And the first thing you need to understand is this. Being poor is not a condition. It is a war. And right now, whether you know it or not, you are already in the middle of it. Most people think poverty is a lack of money. They are wrong. Poverty is not a number in a bank account. Poverty is an enemy. It is a living, breathing force that has studied you, mapped your weaknesses, and designed a battlefield that is rigged in its favor. It attacks you from every direction at once: your wallet, your brain, your relationships, your hope. And the cruelest part? Most soldiers in this war do not even know they're fighting. They think their exhaustion is laziness. They think their failure is fate. They're being defeated on a battlefield they cannot see. I call this the War of Five Fronts, and today we are going to be your generals. Every great soldier knows this truth. You cannot win a war you do not understand. So before we talk about victory, we have to understand the enemy. We have to walk the battlefield. We have to name the five fronts where poverty attacks, and we have to build a strategy to defeat each one. Because if you leave even one front undefended, the enemy will pour through and destroy everything you have built on the others. But here is what I want you to hold on to before we begin. Every war in history that looked unwinnable was eventually won by someone. Every empire that looked unbreakable eventually fell. The soldiers who won those wars were not superhuman. They were ordinary people who refused to surrender. That is the only qualification you need to win this war. You just have to refuse to stop fighting. So, let us begin. Let us go to war. Front 1. The fog of scarcity. Every military commander fears one thing above all else: the fog of war. The moment your vision is clouded, you make bad decisions. You shoot at shadows. You march in the wrong direction. You waste your ammunition on the wrong targets. Poverty creates its own fog, and military scientists would call it the scarcity fog. A famous researcher at Harvard named Sendil Mullainathan discovered something astonishing. When your mind is consumed by financial stress, when you are lying awake worrying about rent, about the car, about the electricity bill, your effective IQ drops by 13 points. 13 points! That's the same cognitive damage as going without sleep for a full day. That's the same as being a functioning alcoholic. Think about what that means on the battlefield. You were a soldier who has been sent into enemy territory, but someone has put a blindfold over one eye and stuffed cotton in one ear. You can still fight, but you are at a massive disadvantage. You are making life-changing decisions about money, about work, about your future, with a brain that is running on fumes. And the enemy knows this. The enemy counts on this. The payday loan company does not advertise to relaxed, clear-headed people. They wait until you are desperate, exhausted, and operating in the fog. Then they offer you a way out that is actually a trap. This is the Vimes boots theory of the battlefield. A general with full resources can buy quality boots for his soldiers, boots that last 10 years. Each soldier costs him $50. But a commander running low on supplies can only afford cheap boots. Those boots fall apart after 1 year. Over 10 years, he spends twice as much money, and his soldiers fight every battle with wet feet. Poverty charges you a penalty for being poor. Late fees, overdraft fees, higher interest rates, higher prices because you cannot buy in bulk. The system double taxes you for showing up to the fight already wounded. So, how do you defeat the scarcity fog? You build your forward operating base. In war, the first thing any army does when it enters hostile territory is establish a base, a place of safety, a point of resupply, a position you can defend. Your financial forward operating base is a buffer of $1,000, not a vacation fund, not an investment, a defensive position. When your car breaks down and you have no buffer, that's an ambush. You are caught in the open, exposed with no cover. But when you have that buffer, the ambush becomes a manageable skirmish. You deal with it and march on. That $1,000 doesn't just buy you time, it buys you back your brain. It lifts the fog. It restores the 13 IQ points. And a soldier who can see clearly is a soldier who can win. Your first mission in this war is not to get rich. Your first mission is to establish your base. Sacrifice for a few months. Live like a soldier in the field, stripped down, disciplined, focused. It will be uncomfortable, but you are not being poor. You are preparing for battle.
Front 2. The Propaganda War. Every great military campaign includes a propaganda operation. The enemy does not just attack your body, it attacks your mind. It floods you with messages designed to demoralize you, to distract you, to make you spend your ammunition on the wrong things. In the war against poverty, this is the dopamine propaganda machine. When you are trapped in financial struggle, your life is genuinely painful. Your cortisol, the stress hormone, is constantly elevated. You feel invisible. You feel like you are losing. And your brain, like any soldier under sustained fire, screams for relief. So when you walk into a store and buy new shoes or a new phone or anything shiny and branded, your brain fires a hit of dopamine. For 20 minutes, the pain stops. For 20 minutes, you feel like you are winning. This is not weakness. This is biology. You are self-medicating. You are using consumption as a field dressing on a wound that goes much deeper. And the enemy, the advertising industry, the credit card companies, the retail machine, has studied this response for decades. They know exactly how to trigger it. They know exactly when you are most vulnerable. They are running a psychological operation against you 24 hours a day. The difference between how the poor and the wealthy see money comes down to this. The poor use money to buy pleasure. The wealthy use money to buy freedom. When a struggling person gets $500, they think, what can I buy? When a wealthy person gets $500, they think, how can I deploy this? Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. The new car is a liability. The designer bag is a liability. They feel like wins. They are actually surrenders. You traded your future freedom for 20 minutes of dopamine, and the enemy is laughing. To break this front, you must enter what I call monk mode, a period of radical mental discipline. For 6 months, you strip away every non-essential expense. You cancel subscriptions. You stop eating out. You walk instead of riding. You drink water instead of buying comfort. You are not doing this because you are poor. You are doing this because you are a soldier in training, and soldiers in training do not go to the nightclub the night before the assault. When you cut off the dopamine supply from spending, something remarkable happens. Your brain begins to rewire. It finds a new source of dopamine, the growing number in your savings account, the satisfaction of discipline, the pride of control. And when that switch flips, you become something the enemy cannot manipulate. You become immune to the propaganda. And an enemy that cannot manipulate you cannot defeat you. Front 3. The attrition trap. There is a style of warfare called attrition warfare. The strategy is simple and brutal. You do not try to defeat the enemy in one decisive battle. You just grind them down. You wear them out. You drain their resources slowly, day by day, until they have nothing left to fight with. Then you walk over them. Poverty uses this strategy against the working class through what I call the linear income trap. Most people are taught a simple equation. Time equals money. You want more money? You work more hours. Get a second job, work overtime, drive for a delivery app on the weekends. But this strategy has a fatal flaw that the enemy is counting on. Time is finite. You only have 24 hours in a day, and you must sleep. This means your income has a hard ceiling, a maximum you can never break through, no matter how hard you charge. But your expenses have no ceiling, and lurking behind your expenses is the enemy's most powerful long-range weapon, inflation. Every year, the cost of bread, gas, rent, and medicine goes up, but wages are sticky. Your employer waits a year, maybe two, before offering you a 3% raise. By then, inflation has already eaten 8% of your purchasing power. You are a soldier marching uphill, and the hill is getting steeper every year. You work harder, you sell more hours, you miss your children growing up, you damage your health, and at the end of the year, you're actually losing ground. This is attrition warfare, and you cannot win it by fighting harder on the same terms. You have to change the terms of the battle. The way you change the terms is by building what I call a skill stack, your own personal arsenal. Most soldiers try to be the absolute best at one weapon, but the battlefield rewards the soldier who is dangerous with several. You do not need to be the world's greatest programmer, or the world's greatest salesperson, or the world's greatest writer. You need to be good, genuinely competent at 2 or 3 skills that complement each other. Stack them together, and you become something rare, something the market cannot easily replace. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, was not the funniest writer alive. He was not the best artist. He was not the most experienced businessman, but he was competent at all 3, and when he combined them, he became unique. He became unreplaceable. If you are a construction worker, learn sales. Now you're not a laborer. You're a contractor who can close deals. If you are a waiter, learn copywriting. Now you're not carrying plates, you're engineering menus that generate revenue. You are no longer a soldier who can be replaced by any recruit off the street. You have built a moat around your position, and a moat behind a trench does not fight attrition battles. The enemy has to come to him. Build your arsenal, stack your skills, and start winning on your terms, not the enemy's. Front 5. The enemy within the ranks. Here's a hard truth that every soldier eventually learns. The most dangerous enemies aren't always the ones shooting at you from the other side. Sometimes the most dangerous threat comes from within your own ranks. I call this front social gravity, and it's the one that breaks more soldiers than any other. There is a powerful truth. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your 5 closest companions have surrendered to poverty, if they have accepted it, normalized it, built their identity around it, you will be the 6th. Not because they are bad people, but because human beings are built to mirror the tribe. We have mirror neurons in our brains that unconsciously copy the behavior, the language, the beliefs, and the limits of the people around us. If your tribe has accepted defeat, your brain is learning to accept defeat too, even while you are consciously trying to fight. This is the crab bucket, the most heartbreaking battlefield in this war. Put 1 crab in a bucket and it can climb out. Put 10 crabs in a bucket, and the moment one tries to escape, the others pull it back down. They don't do this out of cruelty. They do it because instinct tells them that if this crab can leave, it means they are choosing to stay. And that is an unbearable thought. So your escape becomes their threat, and they'll pull you back with words that sound like love. Why are you working so hard? Relax. You think you're better than us? The game is rigged anyway. That is the sound of friendly fire, and friendly fire kills just as dead as enemy fire. To survive this front, you must practice what every successful military unit practices: controlled isolation. You protect the mission. You do not abandon your people, but you cannot afford to spend hours every day marinating in surrender. You must find a new squad. And here's the great gift of the modern era. You can. You do not need to be invited to a country club. You can spend your hours with the greatest military minds in history. You can read the biography of someone who built an empire from nothing. You can listen to the interviews of people who fought the same war you are fighting and won. Every book you read is a briefing from a veteran. Every podcast from someone who escaped poverty is an intelligence report from behind the enemy lines. Build your new squad inside your mind. Let the voices of those who won drown out the noise of those who surrendered. You are choosing your average. Choose it deliberately.
Front 5. The War of Compound Time. And now we arrive at the final front. This is the decisive battle. Win this one and the war is over. Lose it and nothing else matters. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He said those who understand it earn it. Those who do not pay it. Right now, if you are trapped in the poverty cycle, you are almost certainly on the wrong side of this weapon. You have credit card debt charging you 20% interest. You have car loans. You have high-interest obligations of every shape. This means that every single morning, before you open your eyes, before you have done a single thing, you are already losing ground. The enemy's compound weapon fired while you slept, and you woke up poorer than you were the night before. The wealthy are on the other side of this weapon. Their money in the market, in real estate, in businesses, quietly compounds through the night. Every morning they wake up richer, without lifting a finger. This is not magic. This is not luck. This is mathematics working at scale, and right now it is working against you. To win this final battle, you must cross the line. You must stop being the soldier who pays compound interest and become the soldier who earns it. And you do this in 3 stages. Stage 1, triage. Stop the bleeding. Cut your expenses to the bone. Take your monk mode savings and eliminate your highest interest debt first. The credit cards, the payday loans, the parasites that are feeding on your future. Kill them. This is the hardest fighting, hand to hand, brutal, personal, but you must clear the field. Stage 2, plant your flag. Begin acquiring assets. Not a luxury car, not a house you cannot afford, a low-cost index fund. $10 a day, just $10 invested into a broad market fund and left alone. You are planting a flag in territory that will grow. It will look small at first. It will look almost laughable, but you are not looking at today. You are looking at 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when compound time has been working for you instead of against you. You are building your own artillery battery, and artillery, once positioned, fires endlessly. Stage 3, achieve escape from the battlefield. This is the moment your assets generate enough income to cover your basic survival. This is the moment you stop selling your hours to stay alive. This is not retirement. This is not the end of the fight. This is the moment you go from conscript to general. You now have options. You now have leverage. You now fight on your terms, not the enemy's. Victory. Let us review the 5 fronts of this war. We fought the scarcity fog and built our forward operating base. We dismantled the dopamine propaganda machine and reclaimed our minds. We escaped the attrition trap by building our own skill arsenal. We survived the enemy within our own ranks through deliberate, protected discipline. And we crossed the line in the compound time battle to make mathematics work for us instead of against us. These are the 5 chains that poverty uses to hold you down. But here is what I need you to carry with you today, above everything else. Chains are forged in metal, but they are designed in the mind. The battlefield is real, the enemy is real, the struggle is real, but history is written by people who refused to accept the outcome that the enemy had planned for them. Every war that looked unwinnable was won by someone. Every position that looked impenetrable was breached by someone. Every story of impossible escape was lived by someone who was once sitting exactly where you are sitting right now, reading words like these, wondering if it was actually possible. It is possible. The gate to the battlefield is open. It has always been open. The enemy wants you to believe it is locked. Your exhausted mind wants you to believe it is locked. But soldiers who have made it through will tell you, The only lock was the one you put there yourself. You have the map now. You have the strategy. You know the 5 fronts. The only question left is the oldest question in the history of warfare. Are you ready to fight? Good. Then let's march.